I make almost twice the federal minimum wage, and I am still thousands of dollars below the poverty line. I am homeless. I live in my car. I cannot afford to rent an apartment. I can hardly afford to live in my car. Food is expensive, and it's tough times, you know? I work 40 hours a week. I am not in an entry-level position. I am in a skilled position. I make twice the federal minimum wage, and I am poor.
My heart goes out to this young man who is living in his vehicle, even though he is working 40 hours per week and earning twice the federal minimum wage. You might be wondering, what's going on here? Why can't he afford an apartment in his area? Well, this article I found today may shed some light on this. I read an article on CNBC.com written by David McMillan titled, "Good News for Renters. Prices are holding steady or dropping nationwide." I'll include a link to the article below. I encourage you to check it out. According to the author, while homebuyers continue to struggle, there's good news for renters. Nationwide, rents have either stayed flat or decreased for the third month in a row, according to a new report from Zumper. In September 2025, the median price for a one-bedroom rental remained stable at $1,517 per month, while the cost of a two-bedroom unit dropped by 0.2% to $1,894 per month. My friends, if you earn twice the federal minimum wage, you stand little to no chance at being able to rent a one-bedroom apartment for $1,517 per month. That's the median here in America. That does not include utilities in most cases. And in some cities, that probably does not include parking. There are a lot of apartment complexes that will charge you at least $100 a month for parking if you're lucky. It's possible in some large cities you could be paying hundreds of dollars per month for parking. You may also be required to pay for things like concierge trash, which you don't want because you can carry your trash bag down to the dumpster at the end of the hall, but yet you have to pay it. Why? It is a profit generator for the apartment complex. Let's see what other people have to say about the current rental market here in America.
This rental market kind of feels like the most discouraging thing I've ever experienced. Let me go back and paint a better picture for you. I'm pushing 30. I finally landed my dream six-figure career. I've got a decent financial footing, and I get a sick apartment. But then this happens. This here represents a near $1,000 increase in my rent over 2 years, with some brand new fees that they decided to slap right on top. So naturally, I have to look around and find a new apartment because I can no longer afford where I currently live. But I keep noticing these new luxury apartment buildings literally everywhere. But one-bedroom apartments are starting at $2,500. And this is not a special case. Here's another example, and this one's not quite as new. This was built about 3 or 4 years ago, and one-bedroom apartments start at $2,489. And that's just the minimum. So now I have no choice but to move 45 minutes further away from my job. And it's so similar to the housing market. I don't know how people my age are supposed to keep up with what's happening. And the same story holds. Wages are not able to keep up with this increasing cost of living.
This is the reality in many parts of America, my friends, and it is truly unfortunate. This young man shared some interesting information. He was hit with some different fees at his apartment complex, one of which was an amenity fee for $45 per month. To me, that's like resort fees that hotels charge. I just consider that to be a junk fee. Then there was the trash removal fee of $10 per month. He was getting off pretty cheap there. There are a lot of these luxury apartment complexes that charge for concierge trash, like I mentioned earlier. Now, I don't know what this 239 fee was, but that was $75 per month. Unbelievable. Now, this young man shared some of the different pricing for one bedroom, one bath apartments. which ranged from $2,510 per month all the way up to $3,965 a month. Can you imagine throwing away $3,965 per month on rent? I sure wouldn't want to do that. Some folks who are doing this are probably not contributing much, if any, to a retirement plan. They are potentially sacrificing their future financial security because they have to pay these high rent prices right now. Let's roll the next video.
Here in New York City, one of the most expensive places in America to live, this man right here has made his home on the streets. He said he could no longer afford to pay rent. Here, the average rent is around $4,500 a month, while the minimum wage is $16 an hour. This man says, I no longer can afford to pay rent. He's literally moved all his belongings outside. He's out here sitting on a chair, relaxing. Has his seat, he has his blankets, his cushions from his couch, pallets, and he says he's living a great life now. He says, I have no overhead. I've never felt more free as he's living here on the streets in New York City. It's so expensive to live here. People are literally going homeless on the streets.
How in the world did we get to this point? We are supposed to be a superpower, yet we have Americans who are living on the sidewalk. Now, this man featured in the video may be relaxing right now, but what's going to happen this winter? There are some brutal winters in New York City. I also have to wonder how long he can hang on to his possessions that are on the sidewalk. What happens when he needs to go down the street to use the bathroom at some building? Well, someone could steal his personal property. I don't think living on the sidewalk is a long-term solution to his financial predicament. But $4,500 per month for average rent in New York City is pretty expensive. I don't know what some folks are going to do. Many wages here in America have not kept pace with true inflation. Let's see what the next video is all about.
Americans can't even afford to pay their rent unless they work 20,000 hours a week. And this is not, unless you're a professional person, you're a lawyer or a doctor or whatever you have your degree in. If you're a normal, average American and you're in the working age, it's almost impossible to pay your rent. I met this man this morning. Yeah, I was talking to him. I delivered his breakfast to him. I'm one of those Americans. I delivered his breakfast to him in an Uber, on an Uber delivery, and we chit-chatted for a minute, and the whole time I'm chit-chatting, I'm nervous because I need to be getting back out there so I can pay my rent. Anyway, he was telling me that he actually had 2 jobs, full-time jobs, in his house. It wasn't that fabulous. It was just a mid-range house here in Florida. He said he was ordering Uber Eats because he needed to eat. And as there was no food in the house, and he was splurging. His wife was working, he was starving, and he had to get some food in his stomach. So he did an Uber Eat. What he did? He did an Uber. He got a notification from Uber Eats saying 50% off your first order. So he took advantage of it. And he's pretty sad, huh? Anyway, but it's true. This is what's going on. Anyway, he has a college degree. He didn't get anywhere with that. No, he didn't get anywhere. He got a real estate license. He said that was a joke. He invested 6 months of his life. He sold one house, and he said he had to give up because there were just too many realtors out there. Everybody thought they were going to make a lot of money selling houses, and he couldn't hold off anymore. So he's out there, and he's bartending at night. He's mowing lawns. He's doing all kinds of side work. His wife works full time. He's got a couple kids to feed. They're worried about their rent. Do they pay their rent? Do they get their utilities turned off? what are they doing? He says their credit cards are all maxed out. He says neither of them are gamblers or take drugs or do anything like that. They just can't afford to live in today's world, So I don't know what's going on. How can we get out of this mess? How?
This woman talked about how the man was working multiple jobs and still struggling financially. I think that is becoming very common these days as well. There are a lot of people who have a full-time job and then they have multiple side hustles. They need to do this just to survive. Now, I'm sure there are some who are paying their bills with their full-time job and using their side hustles to invest for their future, but not everyone is in that fortunate position. I'm curious what you folks think about all of this. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. If you would like to become a channel member, there is a link in the description beneath this video. You can read more about the different membership levels. Please also check out some of the great books I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.